a quorum, and we'll add members as they appear. I have never chaired a meeting in the Senate of Virginia committee room before. But let me just point out to you, this little screen I got in front of me has a little button called Chairman Override. Now, I don't know what we need to do to get one of those in the House, but that's something we ought to have. All right. Mr. Director, you want to take your chances of getting a chairman's override, or tell us what's happening today?
I'll try to avoid that, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair, and members of the Commission. I'm Hal Greer, the Staff Director of JLARC. Thank you to all of you for coming together for this meeting during this busy time. The purpose of this meeting is to give the JLARC staff further direction on studies to be conducted in this coming year. Staff have already begun work on 3 studies that were directed by joint resolutions passed during the 2021 session. However, as you may recall, we have capacity to take on at least 2 additional studies for 2022. At the December meeting, you expressed interest in 3 studies, and you in fact approved one of the 3 studies, and that was a study reviewing the Community Service Board system and structure. You may also recall that at the December meeting, I indicated that we might not have the capacity to conduct both of the other studies in 2022 that were of interest to the Commission. However, after further assessment, we've determined that we can in fact conduct both of those additional studies this year, assuming that there are no new studies that come from the coming session that are passed by joint resolutions that become higher priorities than these studies. I'd like to turn over to Justin Brown to just briefly describe the 2 studies for which staff is seeking Commission approval to conduct. Justin?
Thank you, Al. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission. As Hal said, my name is Justin Brown. And dive into this pretty quickly. In your packets, you'll see that there are 2 draft resolutions. One is for a review of higher education financial aid processes at each of the institutions, and one is for kind of gaming, administration, and oversight. And you saw both of these at the December meeting. Just a brief overview of the higher education resolution. We have talked about this with Chev, and this project, in their opinion, would dovetail nicely with the broader review it has underway of higher ed funding and efficiency. Chev released an interim report about a month ago and plans to release a final report over the summer, I think. And so the proposed resolution would dig a little deeper by looking at each of the 15 institutions individually in terms of the actual criteria, processes, and policies that they use to make higher ed student financial aid award decisions, including the amounts of awards that students receive. We'd also look into the cost of dual enrollment courses and look into some of the data about students to transfer from institution to institution. So I will pause there for one moment if there's any questions about that study resolution of higher education student financial aid.
Any questions of staff? Hearing none, maybe we can move on to resolution 2.
On the second one, it's a project to look at gaming oversight, and this was something that Senator McPike noted in December. There's now several different agencies involved in regulating different types of gaming in Virginia. It's possible there could be some synergies and efficiencies to be gained by consolidating or having the agencies work more closely together. So that project would review the advantages and disadvantages of consolidating the state's oversight and administration of gaming regulations into a single agency. Right now it's spread across lottery, VDAX, and the Horse Racing Commission. So I will pause there to see if there's any questions on that study resolution.
Questions? I'd point out to those who are in attendance, if you seem to have a lack of discussion, I will say that this is the second time at least, and for some the third time that we've considered these. So we pretty have a much background about what those are.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'll defer to you. You could start with a voice vote on them as a block or together, and I'm also prepared to go into a roll call situation if we need to do that.
Well, without objection, then we'll take them in a block, and we have a motion.
So moved.
So moved and seconded that these be the second and third of our major studies for the coming year. All those in favor will indicate aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Seeing no opposition, they are agreed to unanimously.
Thank you. I think that concludes what we needed from you. So we appreciate you coming together. Thank you.
I didn't get to use all these fancy buttons up here.
You can override me to close the meeting out if you'd like to, Mr. Chairman.
Let's see what happens.